It's Fred back on the George Elmy. We're now doing work on our canopy or shelter deck as it's called. We're busy, we have our frames mostly in position now and we're busy steaming timbers today. We've got the main timbers in, we're now putting in position the small timbers. Bit easier to bend but still need a bit of heat. If you look on the bench, we're back to a little basic timber. We've got our wall stripper here, we're piping. This is a bit of stainless pipe. It's only 2.5 diameter. We're only doing 2 timbers at a time. If we put too many timbers in at one go, by the time we got them all bent and fit, they would be cooked and spoil them. So we're just giving them about half an hour on each timber and then we'll put them on the board. So we've now just got a little bit of trimming to do on the board before we're ready to bend these two here. Right. What we'll have here is the main king plank for the canopy top. This is the strong back of the whole canopy. All the timbers are let in as we go across the tops, but you can't put them in position and chisel them before you bend it, because you would create all these areas of short grain and it would more than likely snap. So each one has to be individually cut out when you get them in. What we've done first, we marked them off, then we've gone through with a 3/4 drill just to a depth, and then we'll just do a quick tidy out. If you go down with the drill first, it takes most of the wood away and it gives your chisel somewhere to escape to and it doesn't get jammed. It saves a lot of problems. Just a quick tidy out on that. Now we have here a piece of plastic off a window trim. This is the same width as a timber, so we'll stick that in my location and we'll bend it down where it's got to go to the next one. This frame is actually the inside of the outer skin, so the timber framing has to come level with that. So we'll put the mark across the plastic as a guideline. That will now allow us to get our timber into there. We'll stick the drill in. Again, if you just nick them out, because you've been in with your drill, there's room for your chisel. Now on this one we've got a knot, so it might be a bit more difficult because there's an imaginary man who goes around the oak forests and he puts knots in wood and he plans them especially so they're right in the way where you have to do a joint. Anybody that's had a lot to do with oak will probably guarantee that with you. But there's always a knot right where you don't want it. So this is my little steamer. One of them out. Drop one of them quickly. Right. You can, with some of your auto ones, just start your bend a little bit. You have to support it a little bit with your hand. You've got no guarantee that's not going to snap. That looks good to me. Right, we'll put a clamp on here. On
down the bottom here.
Now we haven't chiselled this one out, just to let you see, this is the distance here between the frame. This one has to be marked and cut out when we get our position for our timbers. So that'll come out of there to that depth, and that'll bring that to the front for the planking. I just knocked that cramp off. That would not need a cramp for it. Push this one down. So now we'll just set these off a little bit, and what we'll have to do on here, we'll drill and put 2 copper nails in just into the back of the main stringer, and that's sufficient to hold them in position. When you get the main planking on, there's a big nail goes through the middle to hold everything together. So you put 2 in, so you know that when you're going to drill the middle, you're going to be clear. But you still use copper nails, and if you do touch one with a drill, you'll have no bother clearing past it. Now, the next job is, we'll have some big pads to go in here to take the portholes and lights. We'll have a sample here, a nice sample. The light will go in approximately there, nicely fit in, and then over the top of it as a cover to protect the glass. Here. So now we've just got about another 20 timbers to do. Then these areas here, there's pads of oak got to be fit in between every one of these to stiffen it up, and then when that's done, then we can start putting some of the planking on. So I think maybe it's the end of next week, if our famous cameraman Nick is available, we'll be having a look at a bit planking started. And then it's another 2 or 3 weeks of bending and fitting. We now have all our timbers in position, the pads that go on the backs of the stringers to stiffen the timbers, and the pads in which take the portholes. These are not the right size, they're just sufficient, so we'll have here an area, you have a big area where you can't get a cramp on, so we'll just put a provisional hole in and we can get a cramp through, and that helps with quite a bit. So today we're steaming some of the planking around the front end. As you can see, there's quite a steep bend around that. It's pretty tight. This is only the first layer of the skin. When it's completed, there'll be a second layer. It'll go across there, the same as the hull with the double diagonal. So this one has a part bend in it, which we're using as a template. Now, put that round there. Just try and get yourself up against something, so that'll bend around there, so I can have a look at that, and I can see if this needs to come down a little bit in a gap because it's not lying quite right. So I'll get that in position where I need it, force that in, and I can see that I'm going to need about a quarter putting in the middle on that. Right, so I shall now take this to a lump of wood on the saw bench, if you like to come this way. The boards on the boat look straight, but they've actually, to get them to bend round and edge to edge, there is quite a bit of shape. I don't know if you can edge to edge, that'll let you see how much shape there's in each individual board. So what we'll have now, I know which way I need the tightest part of the bend, which was that end there. So I'll put that one down onto there, sight that off, roughly what I wanted. I'll go that, because that's the bending in there. We'll squash that down, roughly what we need. Now I know I needed a quarter on there, quarter on there, Right, we're just going to pop this one in the steamer for about 15 minutes. We already have a one in, a long one. Stick that one into there. They do get a bit warm, but that's the object of the job. Just
Just pack them up a little bit for us.
Just take this one very carefully. As I'm going to force this round, I've got my hand on here because that's the place it's most likely to break. I'm not putting a steady pressure on, but I'm not forcing it round. You can just feel the wood start to move. It's got a bit of give in it there.
Tell us when.
Just take it right over that one. Just a sec, let's get it in. Let's get it in first. That's nice. One up here. Back of the string. What we'll do now is we'll let this cool off, and after it's cooled off, you've got your gap there and a gap here. You can see there's a little bump on there, so we'll just mark how much we need to take off. And where the biggest hole is, put a little squiggle on, big hole there, little squiggle on there, so you know your bump is there. The mark there dictates nothing off past that. So there's a couple to do on there, and a wee bit on there. So we'll take that off in about 15 minutes time. It should be set, and then we'll do a few more and a few more. About another 30, 60 is about 120 boards to go on, so it's a fair bit of work. Now we're trying to explain about what cramps and stuff like that. We're getting cramps on here easy. When we get all the skin on and we come to bend with a second one, we're going to have to make some jigs up to get it, because you can't get any cramps in on your second one. We'll have a lump of wood screwed on here to hold the front, but then from here it's a cold bend and push, and I'm trapped on the cramps. We'll have a cold bend round to there, so it's just trial and error. We'll make jigs up as we go along. So if we come up with any ingenious method, we'll let you have a look, but you're not going to get too many trade secrets. Plug in there just to hold a little bit of heat while we get with dinner.